Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Yard Reasonings with Linva Levy. Now, what I want to reason with us today about is bending trees. Have you ever bent a tree? Or have you ever tried to bend a tree? Now, it is important to bend trees when they are young. Because guess what? When they are young, they are very supple and they are easy to bend. And so you're able to bend them whichever direction you want them when they are young. Now, when they are older, if you try to bend them, they are absolutely going to break. All right? Now, I remember when I was a little boy, maybe about 9 or 8 or 9, I was still in primary school. And I remember this night, it was a Sunday night. We went to church, and on our way back, we stopped at our aunt's house, which is basically next door but not very close. Now, it was my mother and my sisters. Now, we were having a saving challenge. We were saving up money. So we're having a challenge to see who could save the most money in the shortest possible period of time. And so, my one of my older cousins, she was saving her money in a mackerel tin. I will never forget that. Her money was being saved in a mackerel tin. In those days, we had paper $1. So, like a paper $1, that was one of the bigger notes that you had in those days. And so she showed us how much she had, how much money she had, and she put it back in its place. When she wasn't looking, guess what? I took out $1. So I stole $1 from her. Now, one of my sisters saw when I took the dollar from the tin, and she didn't do a better thing than she didn't say anything then. When we got home, she said it and she told my father. Now, I got a good whipping all the way back. Now, I cannot try to outrun him. And I stuck the dollar under. There's an Adventist church just before you get to my aunt's house. And I stuck the dollar under a stone quickly. And I ran up to the house fast time. He was behind me coming. And he caught up with me and then he started beating me again. And saying, you mustn't thief. You're not for thief. You're not for thief. Or put the God, give it back. You mustn't thief. You mustn't thief. And so when I went up quickly to my cousin, and I ashamedly, I was so ashamed, very ashamed. I'm telling you, I was so ashamed. And I went up to her and I told her that I took out $1 from her tin, and I told her that if my father asks if I bring it back, she must she, she must say yes. And I told her where I put the money, so she can go and take it up when it is daylight. So he didn't wait until the next morning. He beat me right then and in the night. And this was like maybe after 10, 11 in the night. And so I got it very, very good. And then after that, I decided in my heart and in my own mind that I'll never do it again. I'll never steal another dollar. And so our parents could put down money anywhere in the house, any amount, and it stays right there. Because I learned my lesson, and then because I got the whooping, my other siblings they learn and they better learn from it. And so, like I said in the last video, that you never live to make all the mistakes. So you need to learn from other people's mistake. And so what my father was doing then is bending the tree when it was young. Because this is what happened, friends. When we don't if we don't correct things in our children from a tender age, from an early age, they get very good at it. They master the art at whatever they are doing. And so we need to bend the trees when they are young. We need to bend the trees when we are able to fashion them and shape them the way we want them to be shaped. And so it is very, very important to start extremely young. Once they can hear, we need to start correcting whatever misbehavior they're doing, whatever behavior they're doing that is not acceptable or that we don't want them to portray. We need to start correcting them as early as possible. Sometimes we hear parents saying, well, in young, he will grow it out. Grow out what? He's not going to grow it out. He's going to grow into it. And he's going to get, or she's going to get better at whatever that art is. They're going to perfect the art. And so I'm encouraging us, I'm encouraging especially our younger parents now to ensure that you bend the trees when they are young. And one of the reasons we are in the predicament that we are in is because persons have stopped bending trees. Persons have stopped correcting their children and they just can't be bothered. Some of them just can't be bothered because it's taking too much time. And because nowadays we have become very what's the word now? We have become very, I don't want to say selfish, but that's what we have become. We have become very self-centered. We have become very individualistic, where I will take care of my children or not. Right? Previously, when I was a little boy, the community grew us. So everybody in the community was our parents. And so if they saw us out of line, they would correct us. And if they ever tell our parents, we get it again. And so it is important to bend trees when they are young, correct our children when they are young. Now, children need boundaries, and we have to set boundaries for our children. Now, we tie our goats at a particular spot, and when we tie them at a particular spot, we expect them to stay there. Right? We tie our cows at a particular spot, and we expect them to stay there. We expect them to eat in a particular um, area and no more. We put our pigs in pens, and we expect them to stay there. We put our dogs on leash, and we expect that they will go so far and no further. But guess what? We leave our children to roam. We leave our children to roam wild. And because persons have left their children to roam wild, then we are reaping the result of that. Where children just do whatever they want to do. And so it is important to set boundaries for children. Children must know that they have set boundaries, there are standards, there are rules. Because we have to be governed by rules. If we're not governed by rules, then we would have a very chaotic world, a very chaotic society. And that's why we have stoplights. Because if we didn't have stoplights, when you get to a crossing, a crossroad, then there would be chaos if we didn't have stop signs and stoplights. So those are rules of the road. And so we have societal rules. We have rules in our own homes, right? And so we have to enforce them. But the problem is that some persons just cannot be bothered because it's too much stress, it's too much trouble to set boundaries for our children, right? So we need to children need to spread their own beds, need to spread their beds. You see, and a lot of time we allow, especially our young boys, to roam wild. If you notice, those who are giving the trouble in terms of committing crime and violence is their majority males. We now have an influx of women coming in, but they are majority males, and it has been like that for a long time. And that's because generally we allow our young boys to roam or people allow their young boys to roam, and the girls are at home helping in the kitchen, helping to clean the house, helping to do a number of duties. And so they learn responsibility from very young, while the males, they learn to be irresponsible because they're not given anything to do. Right? The girls make their beds, the girls make their breakfast, the girls do everything for them, which is so unfair. And so I'm encouraging us to ensure that we set rules, right? Set rules and positive examples are key to raising a successful, responsible citizen, right? And so it's important if you want to raise worthwhile citizens, citizens that are productive, children who can grow up to be productive in the society, then they must have rules. They must have positive examples in their lives. And their first positive example should be coming from the home, right? And so I'm encouraging parents to bend trees. Don't wait until they are big. Don't break them, because that's what's going to happen. So bend, don't break. Right? So I'll say that again. Bend, don't break. And if you wait until they're too hard to break them, we are going to have rebellion, because they're going to say, but I have been doing this for 15 years, 14 years, and now you're coming to tell me. Right? So I'm encouraging that we bend the trees, start inculcating the behaviors that we want them to develop, and we need to model them as well. So model the behaviors that we want them to portray, we want them to display. So whatever behavior we want them to display, we need to show them. We need to do them so that they see that this is what I'm expected to do. All right? So until next time, walk good.